Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? I can hear when my neighbors vacuum. Our building tends to vacuum together as a result. I hear my upstairs neighbor and go, oh hey, I should vacuum, haven't done that in a while, and it's already noisy. Then my downstairs neighbor and my left hand neighbor start vacuuming. It's kinda hilarious. My right hand neighbor doesn't vacuum with us, but does sing opera while doing dishes. Years ago I had an upstairs neighbor. At 2 AM every night, I would hear something sprint across the entire apartment. I realized 3 things. It was very fast, it took small strides, and it never deviated from its path. One day, I saw my neighbor outside and I said, I don't know how you have energy at 2 AM. He responded with, dude, I've been working the midnight to 8 AM shift for 15 years. Doesn't bother me at all. That night, I watched him leave his house, drive off, and waited 2 hours. At exactly 2 AM, I heard what sounded like 2 feet hit the floor in his bedroom, and the marathon started. A few weeks later, I see him outside. I tell him what I hear at night and he says, that's strange. No one has my keys, it's just me and my rabbit up there. I actually manage an apartment complex where my office is surrounded by a 1-bedroom unit. The building is old and the walls are thin. The tenant that used to live in the unit was a quiet man, but would frequently sing beautiful opera music. His voice was amazing, and I loved it every time I heard him sing. Then one time I saw him in the halls, and made the mistake of asking if he was the one who sang these beautiful opera songs. His face turned red, but he confirmed that it was him. I told him that I always enjoyed it when I heard him sing, and that it would always brighten my day. Never should have said anything, because I never heard him sing again. Yeah girl, you know you want this dick. My college roommate 3 kids later, it's apparent she did, in fact, want it. The way my old apartments were laid out, the neighbor's bedroom was right next to my kitchen/dining room. One night, I hear them banging. Thin walls are thinner when the bed is hitting the wall. While I was fixing dinner, I just turned up the music and continued on with my life. 2 hours later, I was cleaning up, doing dishes, and generally tidying up when I heard the familiar thump 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 of banging. I think, good for them, and bag up the trash to take out. Thump thump thump. I open the door and take my bag of trash outside. As I'm walking out, I see the male half of my thumping neighbors walking in from his car. Walking back from the dumpster, I see a half-naked dude running out of the neighbor's apartment. They moved shortly after that. I've heard and felt the neighbors upstairs having sex, and apparently they like to rearrange the furniture at least twice a week. William. We do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. In our old apartment, our upstairs neighbor had extremely loud, theatrically enthusiastic sex in the middle of the day. The puzzle was that he would stop in the middle and we'd hear him walk to where the bathroom is, stay there for a minute or two, and then walk back and resume in the bedroom. It was the same pattern every time. We could never figure out what that was all about. Any ideas welcomed. An argument about money while I was doing the dishes. It ended with a slammed door and one of them on a piano, hitting the keys like a maniac. Some people read, some people go get something to eat, some people exercise. This motherfucker relieves stress by going crazy on a piano, lol. My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain, and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. Jinna, I love you. Jinna, no. Jinna, damn it, put the knife down. At this point, both the apartments adjoining to Jinna's called the police. Jinna's husband decided to spend the night elsewhere. You're only with me for the crack. My next door neighbors. Edit, guys, they're not Irish. They're white trash Dartmouth folk in Nova Scotia. I lived next to a guy who took care of his disabled girlfriend. She stayed home with a nurse while he worked to support them and pay for her healthcare. Everyone really admired him for it. He used to get drunk and tell her that if she doesn't start putting out, he's gonna throw her ass out. The mother screaming at her eldest son, why don't you love me? You never do anything around here. You don't love your siblings. You're horrible. Name. Inaudible wailing. So that's fun. Not in my house, but I travel a lot for work and stay in a lot of hotels. So far my favorite was hearing someone banging around in the shower for a while, then this exchange. Loudly, "Hey, wash my balls." Louder, "Wash your own goddamn balls." Yelling, "Fuck you, your pussy stinks." They got quiet after that, probably because they heard me howling with laughter and realized people could hear them. My male neighbor from India belting out "Hello Bidel" at the top of his lungs. It was magical. They warned me about you. I never should've married you. My 60-yo neighbors. And recently a heated argument between different neighbors' adult kids. The son had caught his son, 5-yo, playing doctor with his sister's daughter, 4-yo. They argued very loudly about it in their back garden, which is completely surrounded by other houses and apartments. I think at least 30 households could hear it. Edit. Playing doctor means getting naked and comparing bits. Heard the couple next door arguing. The wife was furious because she realized he had been cheating on her after she found out she had chlamydia. He tried to convince her that she must have been the unfaithful one. She still lives there. He doesn't. More what my neighbor heard. I'm a deep sleeper and was an even deeper sleeper as a teenager. My phone alarm was going off for 30 minutes and my neighbors could hear it through the walls, assumed it was a burglar alarm, and called the police. Waking up to the police banging on my door was confusing. What can only be described as my flatmate having phone sex while using Christian Bale's Batman voice. Someone sneezed. We said bless you. They laughed. My landlord fucking his wife couple of times per week. She screamed like a porn star. They were on the first floor and I was on the second one. Sometimes if I'd walk above their bedroom and they heard it, they'd stop for a couple of seconds and go right back to Boner Town after. Edit. Forgot something. So yeah, we were 3 guys living in the apartment and we'd often invite some girls over, friends, to have dinner and drinks, but we would usually stay up pretty late and it would be in the middle of the week, pretty much once a week. They were the kind of girls who laugh/talk pretty loud, and our landlord asked us if we were having orgies. He wasn't even kidding. Didn't know how to respond to that, so we just laughed it off and kept him wondering. I lived next to a couple some years ago and they came home after a night out and started fighting about who was better at darts. I thought they were joking, but it got pretty heated. Doors were slammed. Edit. Since people are asking, they were playing darts at the bar earlier that night. From what I could tell they were playing as a team and the boyfriend wasn't pulling his weight and was super defensive about it. Had an off night. Allegedly. The girlfriend was mad he couldn't accept she was better. I'm no detective, but think they had some relationship issues bigger than darts. I moved from far away, so I have a different state license plate than everyone else at the apartment complex. A couple of days ago I had my upstairs neighbor drunkenly ranting to his wife about what he thinks I'm up to. He's convinced that I'm on the run from something. I'm just in grad school, mayo. I heard the couple that used to live next door go through divorce. Their yelling got progressively worse until I realized that their relationship really wasn't healthy. Once she mentioned that they had split up and that she was moving, I was like, yeah, I know. Upstairs neighbors were a single mom and teenage daughter. They were very loud. The mom's room was above my room. One day I had off and was woken up by sex upstairs. It was pretty common in the previous couple weeks. This time, though, someone came in and started screaming, "You're having sex in my bed?" Turns out the daughter had been skipping school and coming back to the apartment with her boyfriend. They were the ones having sex in the mom's bed. The fight that ensued should earned both women awards. I shared a wall with a Buddhist temple, so a lot of chanting and gonging. It was an awesome 5 years. Well, I hear my neighbors having sex quite often, but a few weeks ago I literally heard a full-on divorce. I heard my roommates having sex very loudly. I didn't say anything at the moment, but sat them down the next day and talked about it. Turns out the boyfriend was at work during the time it happened.